Hello, everyone. Hopefully you've had a chance to pick up a lunch. If you haven't, they are in the back, but we're going to go ahead and get started. I'd like to invite our panel up with a keynote speaker. If y'all could go ahead and come up. I'm going to give a brief introduction here, but we do have a treat for you today. It's not every day that our Texas Workforce Commissioners are able to attend our city and give an outlook for workforce as well as what's going on with the state. And we're very pleased to have Texas Workforce Chairman Bryan Daniel here joining us today, along with our esteemed panel for our keynote address. Bryan Daniel serves as chairman of the Texas Workforce Commission, where he works to promote and support the growth of Texas's world-class employers and talented workforce. To champion that goal, he advances innovative workforce and economic development strategies in collaboration with the Texas Workforce Commission, or TWC's, educational partners, local officials, and industry leaders to establish Texas's competitive edge as the best place to work in the world. Prior to joining TWC, Bryan served on Governor Greg Abbott's senior staff, where he led the Texas Office of Economic Development and Tourism. His tenure as the Texas State Director for Rural Development for President George W. Bush and as Chief Administrator for Trade and Business Development at the Texas Department of Agriculture, along with his private sector experiences as a marketing executive and member of the Board of Directors, have provided him with valuable insights on economic development and workforce issues. Bryan is a graduate of Texas Tech University with both a bachelor's degree and master's degree. In 2019, Texas Tech's College of Agricultural Sciences and Natural Resources recognized Bryan as a distinguished alumnus. Please help me welcome to the stage Chairman Bryan Daniel.
Well, I thought I was going to steal that microphone. It came right out. Hey, thanks for sticking with us this far. We've had a great morning. I saw all three panels. Great information. We do a lot of different programs at TWC. I don't get to see most of them in action. Getting to see what's going on is really important for us. A lot of great information coming from this stage. This panel's no different. Let's jump right into it. We got a lot of folks here that I need to introduce to you. So in no particular order, because they're in one order here and a different order on the stage. This is Robbie Shoults with, it's Bear Creek Smokehouse, I believe. You've got Jeff Henderson with Austin Bank, Jill Davis with some really good coffee out here, Joe Pine, Kind Coffee, and Miguel Luna with Taco Reyes, which I haven't had a chance to visit, but when I was learning who was going to be on the panel, everyone told me it's like you got to check that place out too. So yeah, everybody, yeah, it's awesome. This is small business in action. This is what brings communities together. We've got businesses represented here on the stage today that really exemplify like what can happen in a local community and how that community can really come together. And we've got a lot of different elements here, and we really, frankly, only have about 20 or so minutes, and so we really need to jump right in. Guys, I've got like this whole list of questions. I think they sent them to you. I promised Miguel I would only ask the questions that were sent to you. I can also promise you that's not going to happen because somebody's going to say something that I think is going to be really good. We're going to try to have a conversation. As we do that, you know, let's just think about like things that you know about business now that you probably didn't know when you got started. And the folks out here, they want to know that kind of stuff. So if you just want to talk about it, talk about it. I'll manage the time. I'll figure out how much time we've got. If we need more time, we'll get more time because I'll just like not stop talking and then they'll let us have a little bit more time. And we're going to get through this. We've got some awards coming up a little later on. We want those folks to have their time in the spotlight. But let's really kind of dig in. Before we, or as we get started, though, tell us about your business, how you got started in this business, and really how you got to this point in your career. Let's see, I'll loan you my microphone to start.
Well, I want to thank you guys for this opportunity of being here. My name is Miguel Luna. I am owner of Tacos Reyes restaurant here in Marshall. We've been open now for 6 years. We opened in 2017. We operated in a food truck for 4 years. We transitioned into a brick and mortar back in 2021. If you guys know, we bought the former Neely's building, which to us, that's a big deal because it's a bunch of history, and we want to make history for ourselves. So we've been there now 2.5 years. We are a family-owned business, and I think we surround ourselves around that, and that's our motto every day. So it's been great, and Marshall's been really good to us, and I want to thank you guys for that. And if you haven't tried it out, you definitely have to swing by.
I'm Jill Davis with Joe Pine Coffee, and we started also in 2017 in downtown Marshall. And it's me, and I have 3 other business partners. It's another couple and my husband. We wanted to create a space in Marshall to create community, but also around the idea of serving a really good cup of coffee. So we started out of a need for me to fuel my caffeine addiction, and also have a fun place to work. So my husband and I moved here about 7 years ago, and we started Joe Pine 6 years ago, and we're still here, and we love Marshall.
Go ahead.
I'm Jeff Henderson. I'm with Austin Bank. It's not my bank. It's the Austin's bank. I started with Austin Bank almost 10 years ago. I've been in financial services industry for 28 years. I was in investment banking. I've done specialty lending. I've done mortgage lending and consumer and commercial finance. I kind of know my way around the block, at least at the 1,000-foot level on most types of financing. With regard to small business lending, Marshall has been good to me. I'm from here. I grew up here, went to Marshall High School, went away for 18 years and came back in 2005 and have been here ever since. I lived in Dallas, attended SMU there, and I lived on the West Coast for about 7 years in the mortgage lending era. And so I've seen a lot, can offer some good advice, I hope, but otherwise entertain you. But I think that's it for me.
All right, thank you for the opportunity to join you guys today. I appreciate it. My name is Robbie Shoults. I'm the head honcho of Bear Creek Smokehouse. And this is actually our 80th year in business, so I'm going to need quite a bit more time on this mic. Just kidding. Anyway, we are located about 8 miles northwest of Marshall, if none of you have been there. And it's a 80-year-old business. Like I said, I'm the 3rd generation, and I have kids and grandkids that are already involved in the business. And, it's our company motto is food, family, and faith. And it's just been a wonderful life growing up at Bear Creek, growing up in the country, and being able to have the opportunity to work with my grandparents and my parents, my kids, and actually see my grandkids running around out there. So it's a good time every day out there. At any given time, you can see 4 generations on site. So I invite you to come out and visit with us sometime. I'm going to turn this back over, and I'm sure you'll give me some more time, right?
I think these mics, everybody's got a mic. We can probably save some times here, not passing the mic around. So two of you started in 2017. We've got an 80-year-old business sitting down here at the end of the table. We've got a bank that's been in business. Oh gosh, they started in Frankston probably a century ago. So, yeah, 4th generation. All family businesses. Here's though what I want to dial into. So we've got 3 significant hospitality food businesses. We'll count coffee as food. For a lot of people it is. And we have this kind of notable thing that's kind of laying on the table, and we need to talk about it. So if I started a food business, a coffee shop or a fine Mexican food restaurant, Tex-Mex restaurant, in 2017, I wake up 3 years later, and there's this thing called COVID they're telling us about in a town of, 30, 40, 50,000 people. Yeah, and you're been at it for 3 years, and now all of a sudden you haven't really charted this course. That's probably big for a 3-year-old business. I'm pretty sure it's big for an 80-year-old business too. Talk a little bit about the community and why being in this community has been important to your success.
Okay, so when COVID came in, we at that point we were forced in a way to figure out a business plan to be able to accommodate all the new customers coming in, because unfortunately for restaurants, they had to shut down the dining in area. So for a food truck, you know, it kind of excelled our business in a different level, which brought in, you know, more customer base. And we kind of took advantage of that because, you know, in a lot of ways it was bad because we couldn't get a hold of produce or different products, so we suffered in that area. We had to go out and find different ways to bring that in. But just the support from the community and them coming in and actually, you know, because everybody has to eat, right? So they were coming in and we were just trying to be innovative with our menu and to be able to provide that for our community and make sure, you know, that we stayed at a, you know, price level to where, you know, you weren't reaching too far into pockets for your customers, and making sure it's affordable for everybody, and at the same time to keep your business afloat. But, you know, 3 years before when we first started, you know, our mission was to, you know, get this big group of customer base, and they followed us through. And then, you know, COVID came, and when we all needed to be together and rally together, you know, to get through this stage, we were able to do that by providing food and just friendships from us to them. And, you know, honestly, that's what helped us during that time.
During COVID, our community supported Joe Pine in so many ways. I remember the president of ETBU coming by one day and saying, you know, I want to buy 60 cups of coffee for the next, whoever wants to come get coffee today. And it was things like that when we had to shut, like, just like you guys couldn't have people come inside our doors. We had our square system set up on the outside of the door, and people are coming by to get coffee. So we have a runner in the back going and making the coffee and then bringing it to the front door.
That's the digital equivalent of a tackle box that said, put your money in here.
Yeah.
We used to, some of us bought tomatoes that way a little while ago.
And having to make sure the baristas were, you know, dressed for whatever weather was outside that day. It was an interesting venture there for about 6 weeks. But like what I said, he bought coffee for the next 60 people that came by. And then instead of getting so down on what was happening and we just couldn't focus on it too much, or it was kind of depressing, we tried to find ways that we could be a part of, you know, serving the medical community. And we had a whole period of time where someone could come in and buy a drink for themselves, but then they could also buy a drink for someone in the medical profession so that they could come by and basically have free coffee all the time. So we tried to find ways like that where we could just, you know, kind of take hold of the moment and be okay with it. But the community coming together and then just continuing to, like, being there and not shutting down, even though there was like, it would so much easier to shut down because it was a logistical nightmare to be in business at that time. So,
Robbie, let's go to you, and then I'm gonna come back to Jeff and kind of take a different spin on the question.
Okay, COVID was definitely a different time. We have a general store that also has a restaurant in it, and we sell food products in the store. So we were allowed. We were, I guess, an essential because we sold food for people to come out and be able to buy food. However, the restaurant portion of the business, you know, we had to-go orders and curbside pickup and that sort of thing. The plant, however, you know, at that time, the food pipeline supply chain was absolutely nearly came to a standstill and was emptied out. And so we saw record sales during that time because we were trying to restock all the national grocery chains that we sell to. So it's kind of a double-edged sword in a way, you know, for us.
Zeroing in on the common theme that we just heard, which is our customers stuck with us because we had a relationship with our customers, and the community came together. You know, yeah, food service was an essential business. Some of you have national contracts. I mean, there's all these different things, but fundamentally, it was the customers that kind of brought us through. In the banking business, that relationship with those customers, is it the same importance, less importance? How about that customer relationship that you have?
In, I guess, February or March, when this first started, the bank anticipated this question. I didn't do justice to more about me than the bank. The bank is a fourth generation family-owned bank. And so they take relationships seriously. It's pretty obvious that they do for their longevity. But this was like nothing. This was wartime. This was radically different. And I hate to say it, I worked the phones. So did the rest of us. We worked the phones. We watched SBA. We figured out. I remember being at the bank at like 9 or 10 at night on a Friday night, and all of us were at the office, and we were talking to each other through phones or in tech, and coming up with a plan and saying, okay, how are we going to deliver these Paycheck Protection Program loans to people who needed them when the rules were being created on the fly? And so the first thing we did was get real calm and decide, okay, we're going to dispense with non-essential stuff. We're going to put a smile on our face, and we're going to communicate. We're going to call our customers ahead of time and say, hey, this is what we're doing. We don't have it worked out yet. We need you to be available if we call, and you can call us anytime. I gave people my cell phone. I assumed the communications were going to stay up because, I mean, if you remember in that moment, like February, March, none of us knew what was going to happen. But I think it's easy to say communication, it's easy to say talk to people, but I mean, these are people, y'all are people I go to church with. I see at the grocery store. You know, it's a deeper level, and for that one, maybe it was easier to say, okay, guys, this is going to be clunky. It's not going to be fun. I'm going to need you to get documents. Somebody said that, but we're going to do this, and we're going to get you money. We're going to get you through this. And I think that it helped that they believed us, and it helped that we delivered. I think we did, I don't know, 50 or so PPP loans. You know, the follow-up that dealt with that in the second round. But it was like nothing ever I'd experienced in my life, much less my professional life, and I can say that confidently for the rest of us that work at Austin Bank. But we appreciate the patience that the community and our customers gave to us, and we hope that you appreciated what we did.
And so it seems like, as I travel around the state and I get to interact with a lot of business owners, it's this relationship with the customers that really kind of sets apart those businesses that are successful in their community, that are doing the things that they want to do. And it's being, I think, maybe a step ahead of understanding what their customer wants and why that customer is with you. Miguel, you commented that customers naturally followed from the food truck to the restaurant. You said, you know, people wanted a great cup of coffee, but it became a place to gather. You've got a retail spot at the store, but then you've got your contracts with grocery stores. You guys have probably been doing, you're a fourth generation business. You've probably been doing business 4 or 5 generations of people that are customers at the bank as well. And so forming that personal relationship with the customers, I think, is clearly very important. It's something that you guys, I think, have really kind of brought out into the open for people to consider, which is, you know, what are the things that I can do to make the experience better for my customers so that we feel like we're kind of in this together. But let's move from that, let's grow from that into maybe just talking about from an ownership standpoint. whether it's customers or the pride you have in your product, it doesn't, whatever your answer is what your answer is. Like, what's the best thing about the business that you own and operate? When you think about it, like, what is the absolute best thing and that you want to brag on right here today, that we've got 50 people out here that want to listen to about your business and what you're doing? We can start here with Miguel and just work our way down the line.
So for me, it's being here, honestly. Like, our customer base, we always made a relationship with them from the beginning of time. I remember I would always be at the window because I wanted to meet you guys and greet you guys every single time and get to know your name and know what you like and what you order. And that led on to, you know, my staff being able to do the same thing. And me as a customer to any other business, if the owner or anybody recognizes you or knows, you know, what you're going to order, just knows you personally, I feel like that right there just retains them as a guest at your place. And, you know, that brought in a bunch of more opportunities for networking with other businesses and other people. And just being able to sit here with you guys today, you know, something that I never thought I would be doing. I'm a shy person, and just being here, it's amazing to me. And, you know, we plan on the future to grow as a company. And, you know, maybe one day I'll be able to say what you're saying, Mr. Robbie, 80 years in business and have my grandkids out there. You know, those are goals, and that's what, you know, ambitions that I have, and that's what we look forward in the near future for us.
That's a hard question. I think it's the best thing about our business. It's been getting to know people in our community and serve them in different ways. One of our values, our first value, is everyone is important. And we teach that to our baristas. And time again, whenever someone leaves us a review on Google or Facebook, it says that. It says you have the nicest staff. And I'm thankful for that we hire awesome people, but that they truly own the idea of loving people and treating them like they're important. We always say that Joe Pine is not just this store where you come in and get coffee. This is our home, and we're inviting guests into our home. We're not inviting customers into our store. And so we try to treat people like they're in our home. We welcome them in, and we want them to feel like they're important while they're there. And that feeling that people have when they leave, that is what makes them really love our coffee. We do have really good coffee, but they love that experience that they had. And that's my favorite thing, is just seeing people connect with each other, connect with our baristas, and hopefully, you know, someone has a better day because they came in and got a cup of coffee and talked to someone. So.
It's all right. You guys said it well. You know, without customers, we wouldn't be a business for sure. And we try to make sure that we provide the best customer service possible and develop relationships with all of our customers. And we want, when somebody walks in the door, that we go above and beyond their expectations of what they thought it would be like to come into Bear Creek. And there's a lot of different ways to do that, but that's probably the most important part of our business, is our customers and developing those relationships. I've got one real quick sweet story I need to tell that just happened this week. There are a set of twins, ladies, older ladies that live in Longview. One of the sisters died this week, and they were customers of Bear Creek, and her last wish was after the funeral on Saturday, that the group not go to the hot cemetery, but all come to Bear Creek, and she was buying everybody's lunch. So I just thought that was the best ever, and can't wait to meet and greet those folks when they come out Saturday.
What they said, I love horchata, and they know it. I love coffee. I love wassail at Christmas, and they know it. I love turkeys, and I love to go into the shop because it feels cozy, and that's cool. So that's my answer.
That's a great answer, and it's like the passion is real. It's not just about, hey, I'm gonna make as much money off of Marshall or Longview or East Texas as I can. It's like I'm gonna do my very best. I'm gonna have the best place, the best product that I can have, and I want you to come enjoy that with me. I think that's what we want. We just want real in this world. If we want the same as everything else, there's any number of national chains we can go to. We can get the same as everybody else. And if we want that, good. If we want an experience that we can talk about, we want an experience that, you know, everybody goes to after the funeral, what a great story. You know, we can make that for people, and we can be a part of it. Everyone here, though, through your answers, you've talked about the team that works with you, your employees. I can't imagine, I'm going to go down the end line and work our way back this time. I can't imagine everybody that works at Bear Creek is your child or grandchild or grandparent or parent. If you don't mind, if you want to give us an idea maybe how many employees you have and how you really like went to work assembling that team and sort of what goes into getting a team like that in place. I think everybody clearly, I mean, Jeff's backing us up here. The customer experience is great at all these places. That doesn't happen without the right team. Talk a little bit about that if you would.
I sure will. So customer experience is the only thing that small business like us have the advantage as far as comparing us to a big box store or Amazon or some of these other places. You know, we've got to make people feel welcome and at home, and like we're eager to do business with them and that sort of thing. So with that being said, we kind of created a culture at Bear Creek, and you know, we try to hire people that have family values and that think the same way that we do, so that when a family member is not there, our customers still feel the same warmth and appreciation and everything as if we were there.
One of the things that we did when we started Joe Pine was to set values. And it was something that it sounded like something good to do because that's what you do when you start a business. And I can't tell you how many times we've gone back to that set of values, and it's really become like guardrails for anything that we do. But we start talking about those values when we hire, and we tell our story in an interview, and we talk about those values, and then we have a conversation with the person that we're interviewing about that. So we're real clear from the beginning, you know, this is who we want to be. And then what our team does is really take ownership of those values, and it becomes part of who they are. And honestly, like we have about 10 college students. Well, not all of them are college students at the moment, but 10 different people that work for us. And the values that we have, they're going to work in whatever field they're going in. Everyone is important. Transforming community experience is paramount. If you could remember that in whatever field you're in, you're going to succeed. So it's fun to see them kind of take ownership of that. And I think that's part of what makes it work for, you know, when people come in and say nice things, is that our team is all on the same page with that. So.
Do I have time to say a little bit? Okay. I am one of 7 siblings, so I have a big family, and that's not including my uncles, aunts, and there's hundreds of us. So as I grew up, we always were a big, close family, and I got used to that. So whenever I started this company, Tacos Reyes, it all came from an idea on a Thursday night. We used to have dinner at my parents' house every Thursday. And I jokingly told my mom, hey, if I were to buy a food truck and sell tacos, would you help me? She said, yeah. That's all it took. We never looked back. We kept going forward. We started off with, it was 5 of us in the food truck. It's a lot for a food truck, but we went to the yellow truck, and then there we turned into 8. I don't know how we fit, but we were 8 in there. And now we have our restaurant, and, you know, we currently are, 15 staff members and 2 shifts. So in order for us to retain them, I always kept the same idea that if I treat them like my family and keep them in the loop of what I have going on as a small business and just give them the idea of what we got going on as far as like behind the scenes, what the customer doesn't see. I just keep them informed of our business, and I think they enjoy that because I allow them to give me their input, their opinion, and I feel like that's what allowed us to grow. And a lot of them have been with me since the beginnings, and you know, I feel blessed for that opportunity to have them there with me. So I think just treating them with family and then giving them free tacos, I think that's what does it.
It's always about that pay scale, isn't it? That I'd probably work for a free taco. All right, guys. Any questions for the group while we got them here? I think we've got a lot of success up here on this stage. If there's any questions, this would be a great chance for us to take those. Oh, I see a hand, 2 hands. We got plenty of microphones because we're sharing.
Just want to thank you guys for being here. But Mr. Luna, with you being a minority business owner, did you have to get funding or did you fund your own venture?
So when I first started, you know, we're gonna be straightforward. I used to be a car salesman, believe it or not. So I saved everything that I could. I never had the idea of actually owning my own business or even selling tacos, if I'm being honest. It was just a crazy idea that day. My wife used to always get on to me for being a big spender. So that was my New Year resolution, and I was doing good. And then one day I just came up with the idea, and then I used the little that I had, and then I only opened to the scale that I was able to afford. You know, I bought a used food truck, and I did a lot of the work myself. It wasn't up until I had to buy my second trailer when I went to go look for financing for a trailer because, you know, we were growing and, you know, that was going to give us the ability to keep growing. So, and it wasn't until then that I went to a lender. We used Cadence Bank, and they were able to fund us our trailer. So there is opportunities out there. Just take your business plan, and then, you know, you're able to use that and get funding for it. But, you know, I always said to myself, only do what you can afford and then grow from that.
So one more hand up back there.
Hello, everybody. I just have a quick question. What advice would you give to someone who's interested in starting up in the restaurant business?
The question is, do you have any advice that you'd give someone who was wanting to maybe get into the restaurant business? Anybody?
Okay, so my advice to you would be, if you find something that you like to do or cook, and it's just what's allowed me to grow. It's honestly looking at other business around the United States, just kind of looking at what's trending right now, and if it's around what you're wanting to sell, kind of like take that idea and be innovative on your menu, because your menu is the most important thing when you give it to a customer. That's what we focus on. Is our menu, just being diverse in different food categories. And not only that, but just be passionate about it and know that you're gonna work. It's a lot of work, and it's a lot of things that you probably don't see, but just be ready for that. But at the end of the day, you know that it's gonna be what you make it, and I think don't be scared about it. Yeah, if you like to work, then come on board.
I would say to practice whatever that thing is that you're making, and do it a lot, and make sure that it's something you really love doing. When we started Joe Pine, I knew not a lot about coffee, but one of the things that really works for Joe Pine is that my business partners do, and they taught me everything I know about it. And it's been so we took strengths that we each one of us brings different strengths to the table, but that's one of the things that they knew a lot about. And while I had an interest in it, there was a huge learning curve. And so I'm thankful for that, because if I had tried to do that on my own, I would not have succeeded. But also, I had the passion for coffee, so that was there, and it's been good to have that over the past several years. And you loved the food you were making, and so it's something that I would make sure that it's something you love to do, right? Because you can burn out pretty fast in any of these kinds of service industry food areas.
Yeah, I'll offer you this as just a way to kind of close on that idea. Not long ago, I was fishing down at the coast. One of the guys on the trip is a chef who has a television show on the Food Network. And we caught some fish, and it was a particular kind of fish that makes really good ceviche. And so he made ceviche for us. And he told me while we were eating it, he said, "This is so exciting. This guy has a show on the Food Network. He owns several restaurants in San Antonio that are like that kind of restaurant." And he said, "This is so exciting. I just absolutely love it when someone wants to eat something that I made." What I would say to you is this: passion, 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 passion. They love what they do, and they love the people that they do it for. And I think that's the secret ingredient no matter what we're doing in this state. How about a round of applause for this panel? What a great, great panel. And let me just say this as we move through the rest of today's program. These meetings don't just happen. Rush, you guys, this is great. Stacia, this is great. Your chamber, your Economic Development Corporation, doing a lot of great stuff for this community. This community has a lot to offer. I visited here 4, 5, 6 years ago when one of my kids was looking at colleges to play basketball at, and the folks that we met here in this community, it's just stuck with me. I was so glad to have this opportunity to come back. Thanks so much for making time for us today. Thanks so much for being interested in East Texas and Marshall, and thanks so much for listening to what this absolutely fabulous panel had to say. Thanks so much.